listening to Ring Chronicles with Lance Vaughn and Glenn Ritchie.
The cat just hit the camera.
That's fine. I think it's steady.
It made the little circle thing go around.
Yeah. It'll be all right. All right.
We're going to leave that in the podcast?
Yes.
Okay.
Higgins can make all the cameos he wants. All right. So before we get started here, we just want to remind Glenn that this is a wrestling podcast and not an X-Men 97 podcast.
Yeah. But there's some crossover there. Spider-Man wrestled.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man's in Marvel, and X-Men is Marvel as well.
Yep.
And so there's a connection there between professional wrestling and the X-Men.
Yeah. Yeah. Did any wrestlers actually make their way into Marvel Comics?
Well, Sergeant Slaughter was a G.I. Joe.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that Sergeant Slaughter was a G.I. Joe?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes.
He was a okay, I didn't know that.
They made Sergeant Slaughter into a G.I. Joe.
I didn't know that. Nope.
Wow.
Didn't know that.
You did not know that. Wow.
Oh, man.
That would be like not knowing that, like, I don't know, freaking Wolverine was a Ninja Turtle or something. Ralph-Areen.
The Ninja Turtles made it into WWF as the Toxic Turtles.
Yeah, they did. There is some crossover there as well. Some wrestlers have cosplayed superheroes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So there is a connection there.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, so Sergeant Slaughter was a G.I. Joe. Today I learned.
Wow.
All right.
I knew that when I was a kid, Lance.
I didn't know that.
You must have watched G.I. Joe and didn't know who Sergeant Slaughter was.
No, I didn't watch G.I. Joe.
Oh, wait a minute. What?
Yeah, okay, when I was a kid, it was He-Man, Thundercats, and Turtles. Yeah.
No G.I. Joe, though.
No G.I. Joe.
Weird.
Yeah, I never got, like, I had friends that like G.I. Joe and had, like, the G.I. Joe, like, fucking action figures and shit, and I was just never into it.
Well, Sergeant Slaughter was a G.I. Joe.
Oh, man. All right.
Also, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
His name is owned by Marvel.
I didn't know that.
The Hulk part, at least.
The Hulk, well, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. There was a lawsuit saying that Hulk Hogan's name was stolen from the Hulk. Right. And Marvel sued. And so basically anything that has Hulk Hogan, royalties or whatever has to be paid to Marvel.
Right.
And WCW got around that by calling him Hollywood Hogan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they didn't have to pay anything when he was Hollywood Hogan.
Right. So did that also count when he first came back to WWE with the NWO? Because he was still Hollywood.
He was still Hollywood for a while, yeah.
And then he went back to the old...
And he went back to Hulk Hogan, yeah.
And then I guess they had to start paying then.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how it works.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. Okay. So we got some WrestleMania stuff coming up. This is going to be our WrestleMania show.
Yes.
But before we get into all that, I guess we'll jump right into our Lariat of Hate because we got plenty of it this week.
Yes.
All right. So let's have it.
This is the Lariat of Hate.
All right. Yeah. We pissed some people off something awful this week. So, let's go and get into it. So I'm just going to start at the top, what I have on the list here in YouTube. So the last video I posted was a clip from your segment about Paul Heyman going into the Hall of Fame. So the first one here says, Tommy Dreamer doesn't decide who is and isn't a good person. He loudly defends rapists like Ric Flair.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now this one isn't hate, but this is probably the funniest comment we've had yet. Okay. So I have to read it. So first off, I have to show you the thumbnail I use for the video. It's small, but can you see it in the top left there? Can you see the payment?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can see it. All right. So the comment said, I don't know why that picture made me think that when you, I don't know why that picture made me think that when you die and go to hell, the devil is Paul Heyman and Vince, and they make you wrestle Andre the Giant naked.
Okay. That's weird. Certifiably weird.
I thought it was funny, but Paul Heyman being the devil is accurate.
Yeah, I could see that.
All right. Okay, so this next comment, I think it's another one of those examples of people like not watching the full video and commenting anyway. Yes, he did things that were not nice, for a lack of a better term. However, his influence on the industry is undeniable. More so the fact that as a manager, advocate, wise man, etc., he has crushed that. You said that.
That's what we said.
Yeah. So, okay, moving on to one of the Mercedes Mone videos. She's only in AEW because Cokehead Khan is paying her a shit ton of money. No hate on her for getting that deal, but let's not pretend she's there for any other reason.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I think she's going there. I mean, yeah, the money don't hurt.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that, I mean, why go to Japan? It wasn't for the money. Why leave WWE? It wasn't for the money.
Right.
She wants to do more with her career.
Right.
She wants to broaden her horizons.
Right.
She didn't go to Japan for the money.
Right.
I mean, she would have stayed at the WWE if it was all about money.
Yeah.
So no, it's not all about money.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I'm just going to go ahead and admit any criticism of Mercedes Mone is going to be rebutted.
Okay, you ready for the next one?
Yes.
Even if AEW fans completely embrace her, she is not going to solve AEW's popularity and ratings woes. There isn't a pro wrestling star on earth who can overcome the terrible booking and bad business decision practices or bad business practices of AEW. AEW isn't even a good feeder organization to develop stars for WWE. But they've already done that with Jay Cargill, so.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'd love to get onto the AEW hate train with you. But a lot of that's just not true, okay?
Yeah.
Like, they have produced stars that have, I mean, look at Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, right.
I mean, Cody Rhodes, he's going to the WWE's WrestleMania for the second year in a row.
Yep.
And I know
he's won the World Rumble twice in a row, and he's going to headline WrestleMania twice in a row.
Yeah.
So it's
and it's because of the work he did in AEW.
Right. If he hadn't become who he did in AEW, this wouldn't be happening.
No.
In WWE.
No. So that's just.
I mean, he kept the exact same character, outfit, music, everything. It's the same Cody Rhodes.
It's the same guy. Yeah. I mean, if Triple H walked out, he'd be taking a sledgehammer to his chair.
Right. Oh man. Yeah. So, dude, like the AEW hate has gotten ridiculous. Like, I understood it at first, but it's like people are just saying anything now.
Yeah.
And they don't care if it's true or not. It's just it's become okay to just make up shit about AEW, even whether it's true or not. It's just, anyway. All right. Next one simply says she's not that good.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I like to see whoever made that comment get in the ring and put on a match and see how good they do.
Right. I mean, even if her, I don't know, her gimmick or whatever isn't your cup of tea, I don't think you can deny the talent.
Exactly.
It's kind of like, there's a lot of bands out there that I don't necessarily like, but I recognize them as great bands.
Yeah.
It's just that their sound just isn't exactly my thing, but I'll say, yeah, they're a fucking great band.
Yeah.
But I can say that about, wrestlers too. So, I mean, I don't see how you look at her and don't see the talent. She's a natural. Honestly, I don't know if you watched any of Dynamite, any clips from this past week, but she had several run-ins with I say several. There's a couple, but she interacted with Statlander and Willow and Julia Hart and Sky Blue, and she's just, to me, it was clear she can just jump in and work with anybody. She's she's that good,
and that's a talent all of its own,
right?
Because
right.
Who can do that?
Right.
Who can
not
do
a lot.
that?
Not a lot. Not a lot.
So not every I'm a WWE guy, so don't get me wrong. But not everybody in the WWE can go to Japan and go over there and be successful.
Right.
Not everybody in the WWE can go to AEW and be successful.
Right.
It takes a special kind of talent to be successful wherever you go.
Right.
And she was already a success in Japan with the IWGP Championship. And people say, oh, well, she only got that because she was a big name in the WWE. Well, how did she get to be a big name in the WWE? I mean, what do you think happened there?
Right.
And then, do you think that they solely care in Japan that someone's a big name in the WWE? No, you got to be talented over there. You got to know what you're doing.
Right.
I mean, shoot, you can go watch Hulk Hogan matches over there, and he even had to like break out enziguri kicks and crap like that to compete over there.
Right.
He couldn't just be lazy like he could over here in America. He had to put on a show, and so you have to be good to go over there.
Yeah.
Or a really big white guy. Historically.
Yeah, historically.
Yeah, if you were a really big white guy, somehow you would always be successful in Japan, historically.
Yeah.
That was part of the thing about Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget about if you want to see something crazy, go watch the Hulk Hogan interview where he talks about the WWE title, WWF title being a trinket.
Yeah.
That he really wanted the IWGP belt.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's that.
And I mean, his name's tarnished now, but don't forget Brock Lesnar spent time over there too.
Yeah.
He was another big white guy that they're fond over.
Yeah, they love the big white guys over there.
Yeah.
At least when it comes to wrestling. I don't know about anything else, but when it comes to wrestling, they love the big white guys.
All right, so moving on here.
They're kind of like the bears of wrestling over there.
Oh man, well, maybe they're into that. I mean, I don't know.
I don't judge.
Yeah. I mean, it's whatever. All right, so
hey, Vince likes big guys too.
Yeah.
Well, apparently he likes a lot of things.
Yeah.
But we're not going to get into that.
All right, so this one I really didn't get. I don't understand. It's an insult, but I don't get the insult. This is Sasha Banks. Did she use the same experimental procedure as Kirk Lazarus?
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know what that means either.
You're speaking Greek, dude.
Yeah.
Come back and recomment.
Just talk about wrestling this time.
Yeah, who's Kurt Lazarus?
I don't know.
That's like going on and saying, like, I don't know. You're going to bring up, like, one of the character from Friends and compare it to wrestling or something. Like, I never watched that crap.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, man.
Watch Kurt Lazarus be a wrestling figure.
Yep.
Who is Kurt Lazarus?
I'm not into overglorified indie wrestling. And now, I mean, we don't know if they like Mercedes Mone or not. I'm guessing that you don't like her enough if you're not going to watch her on a different show other than WWE. So, she's perfect for AEW. I think she's overrated and overpaid.
Okay, let's go back to the comment about not watching her just because she's
okay, overglorified indie wrestling.
That, and also I must not care about her enough if I'm not going to watch her going into another thing.
Yeah.
I am.
Okay.
Like, I may not watch every Dynamite.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna find a way to watch her matches.
You're gonna check her segments and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I got to.
Yeah. All right. Where was it? I'm not into. Okay. Yeah. She's perfect for AEW. I think she's overrated and overpaid. Overrated and overpaid.
Okay. Somebody's jealous.
Oh, man. Okay. Your favorite wrestler? So gay. Women's wrestling is a joke and only exists because men allow it to.
So like that.
Yeah, dude, we just read your comment on the internet, so congratulations.
Yeah, I think his comment speaks for itself.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to even comment on that comment.
Yep. All right. So this was more on the comment than her, I guess. How does one critique the product? Mentions the creative and just names the bucks. Still don't get their appeal, but whatever. However, it's not for you to decide. If she's your favorite wrestler, then you should be supportive, right?
I don't recall saying that I wasn't supportive.
I was trying to. I didn't go back and look. Well, I tell you what I can do. I can play the clip real quick.
Okay.
From that short, and let's see, and then we can hear it for ourselves.
Maybe I'm wrong. Let's listen to the clip. I'm gonna comment on that comment and discuss. I'm really struggling with this with Mercedes being in AEW because I don't like AEW. I'm just not a fan. I don't like the flips and the craziness and the Young Bucks. I'm just not into all that stuff, you know? I don't like the way they book things, and the creative is just terrible. Mercedes Mone, she might be my favorite wrestler. I had some mixed feelings about this whole situation, you know? Apparently, Mercedes has already gotten some controversy because a couple days prior to this debut, she made a comment saying that, you know, she probably will return to the WWE. First of all, she's working you. Any wrestler that's smart would always leave the door open to return to the WWE at some point. On one hand, she's telling the truth, but on the other hand, she was about to debut in AEW. She was trying to keep a low profile about it because that's what she's supposed to do when you're doing a prize debut. She wasn't trying to give it away that she's going to AEW in just a couple of days. I'm really okay. So I think they might have misunderstood me.
Okay.
So I understand their point. They make a good point, but you got to look at it from my perspective. Let's say your favorite wrestler is Roman Reigns, and let's say that he quits the WWE and goes to IWA and does some like light tube glass, barbed wire, thumbtack matches over there, and that's not your favorite kind of matches.
Yeah.
Okay. You would still prefer him to go back to the WWE and wrestle. Okay. That's an extreme example there. Okay. I'm not saying AEW is that bad, but if your favorite wrestler goes to a company that you're not a particular fan of how they book things and how they do matches and their wrestling style, you're not. That's not going to be your preference,
Right.
I mean, I didn't like it when she went to Japan, but let me tell you something. You know, that guy was saying that, like, or gal, or whoever they were, was saying that I wouldn't watch the matches or whatever. Well, actually, I did follow some of her stuff in Japan as much as I could.
Right.
You know, I didn't watch every single match that she did over there in Japan, but I watched some of it. I'm going to watch some of it because it's my favorite wrestler. And of course, I wanted to go back to the WWE because that is where I mainly watch and consume wrestling. I have to go out of my way to keep up with Mercedes in a company that I don't normally watch. I'm not going to just completely embrace AEW and like hold hands with Tony Khan and start doing a sing-along, you know, because Mercedes is there. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
You got fans of different brands and companies, and you got fans of wrestlers.
Yeah.
And in the world of professional wrestling, there becomes times like this where your favorite wrestler does not go to your favorite company, and you have to make decisions on what you're going to do. Are you going to follow that wrestler, or are you going to leave it alone? They took Bryan Danielson. I thought maybe I was going to start watching AEW. I couldn't keep up with it. And so now, do I still think Bryan Danielson's a great wrestler? Yes. Have I seen matches of him in the AEW that I enjoyed? Yes. Man, I saw a match in person with Dustin Rhodes. It's one of the best matches I ever saw in person. And so, yeah. If AEW came nearby to my hometown and Mercedes Mone was on the card, you bet I'd be buying a ticket and going to that event and watching her. So, I'm not really angry at that comment because I understand what they're saying. They're making a good point. But I think they misunderstood my comments. I've got mixed feelings about my favorite wrestler being not in my favorite company.
Okay.
And that's the issue for me. So it's not that I just don't like the flips and the craziness. I'm not a fan of that. I hope that Mercedes improves the situation over there and things get better, and maybe they'll start promoting women's wrestling better. And because I'm going to be honest with you, okay, women's wrestling got me back into wrestling.
Okay.
I was so tired of the same old stuff and that was going on in men's wrestling, and the typical Vince McMahon booking of like big guys always winning, and guys that have the look, like Roman Reigns, always winning, and especially when they were trying to push him as a face. I like him. His work as a heel is great, by the way. I'm not bashing Roman Reigns, but I got tired of what was going on. Women's wrestling was refreshing to me. It was booked differently. The wrestlers themselves were more versatile. They weren't picking whoever was 7 foot tall and 300 pounds to win the matches, or whoever had tan skin and long black hair to win the matches. Because Vince loves that junk. Diesel, Kevin Nash, you remember him?
A little
bit. Roman Reigns wasn't the first one.
Right.
The Rock had short hair, but he was tan skin, and I don't know if you call it tan, but. Vince liked the Samoans. He loves Samoans, which there's good reason for that because that family puts out like the best wrestlers of all time.
Yep.
But I just got tired of men's wrestling. So women's wrestling was something that was refreshing to me, and so I think if something was to get me to watch AEW consistently, I think Mercedes Mone. And if booking it well with her could get me to do it. Yeah. And I, as I've said in my video for my top 5 reasons why she's my favorite wrestler, Mercedes Mone could take women's wrestling AEW to the next level.
Yeah. With
the help of some of the talent that's already there. She's going to need... she can't do it by herself, but we're going to have. You know what match I want to see?
What's that?
Monet versus Britt Baker.
Yes, God, yes. And I don't know where she is. I don't know. She's been gone for months. She's been gone longer than MJF. Yeah, I don't know where. I don't know if she's hurt. I think she was hurt, but is she still? I don't know what's going on. So I have no idea. But okay, so not just you, but anybody that hasn't watched any of her stuff in AEW yet. At least look up her segment so far. So right now you've got her opening promo when she first arrived. She had a segment at the end of that show, and then this past Wednesday she had a couple more segments. Just watch them, and it's not just Mercedes Mone. It's how it's being booked. They're actually building a story.
Yeah,
and it's like really good, and I really like it. So. I just hope they don't fuck it up because it's good. It's simple, but it's good. It's not some complicated thing they're trying to do.
Also, some fans may object to me comparing Kevin Nash to Roman Reigns, but I mean, because Kevin Nash was a white guy and Roman Reigns is a Samoan guy. But my argument isn't so much like on race, obviously. It's about look as far as muscular and big.
Right.
That's what Vince McMahon cares for.
Right.
I think the fact that he likes the Bloodline dynasty is because they just put out great wrestlers.
Right.
I mean, that is a family that if there's anything genetic about professional wrestling, they prove it. But I think it's more than that. They teach the ones that are going into wrestling well. I mean, the Wild Samoan training school was one of the best training schools in the world for professional wrestlers. So it's they pass down this knowledge of wrestling that benefited. And the Wild Samoans never held like a world title or anything, but they overcame a lot. I mean, at the time, nowadays I would say being a Samoan in professional wrestling isn't a strike against you. But back then it was.
Right.
And you got pigeonholed into this crazy Samoan gimmick back then. Yokozuna was the first to change that. But see, he was within the second generation of guys.
Yeah.
The Rock changed that.
Right.
But once again, The Rock was in the second generation of those guys.
Yeah.
And but if it wasn't for what the Wild Samoans did and everything that they contributed, then it never would have happened.
Yeah.
So they had to, get the foot in the door so that the next generation could rise to the top.
Yeah. You're right. Yokozuna definitely changed it. And then, you had Rikishi who would go out there and dance for an hour,
Yeah.
So it was
over. He didn't have to go out there, dance, stink face, match done.
Right. So yeah, like they went several different directions with the Samoan guys.
Yeah. Obviously Rikishi did have the sumo type gimmick.
Yeah.
Like Yoko, but he made a gimmick his own.
It was a similar look, but he made it his own thing.
Yeah, Yokozuna wasn't out there breakdancing.
Right. The ring would probably break if you tried to break dance.
Oh man.
Anyway, moving on. AEW is for rejects and retirees. They're not good at all. All right. Do you have anything to say about that? I think you covered that in your previous rants. Okay.
It's getting repetitive.
Yeah. As a man, if your favorite wrestler is Sasha Banks, you have issues. She walked out on the fans and the company that made her. I hope she fails at everything she does.
As a man. Listen to that.
Yeah. As a man. You should be ashamed, man.
As a man.
As a man.
A man of all people.
Only our friends will get that.
Yeah.
A man of all people.
We'll have to one day explain all the inside jokes in a special episode. Okay. So I don't know what about me liking Mercedes has to do with me being a man.
Yeah.
But
I guess if you're a man, you can't like female wrestlers. I don't know what he's saying.
Yeah, I don't know either. Let's move on.
Oh, by the way, a few people in the comments jumped on him about that. You want to hear them?
Yeah.
Please just get a little fresh air and come back to this. Tribalism is literally the worst thing in wrestling. You think WWE is paying you? And then somebody responded to him. Tribalism has nothing to do with disliking Mercedes for walking out like a spoiled brat and disrespecting her fans and the company that made her. And then somebody said, the only spoiled brats are the WWE fans. And then the guy came back and said, did your little feelings get hurt? Is baby going to cry because AEW wishes it was a wrestling company, but it's just a toy box for giant man babies? It's okay. You can cry, little child. You clearly, you clearly did not get enough participation trophies as a child and are upset because everyone has stopped calling you special.
Jeez. Okay. So let's deal with the allegation, or not the allegation. It's true. She did leave the WWE.
Yeah.
I object to the phrase walking out on the fans.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know what it's like to go to a wrestling meet signature autograph event and a wrestler that was advertised to be there to not be there. Okay. Now it's somebody that we ain't supposed to talk about anymore.
Yeah. We won't talk about the person.
But I went to an event. It was just timing. The guy that we're not supposed to talk about anymore, Chris Benoit, he was at this autograph signature event with Disco Inferno, Lash LaRue, I guess that's how you say his name, and one of the Spice Girls, or not Spice Girls, God almighty, one of the Nitro Girls.
Yeah.
Yes, one of the Spice Girls. Man, we were really back in the 90s with this crap.
90s is fuck.
Man, okay. So, but at the time, the big star was Chris Benoit. That's the one that I wanted to see. And I'm not glorifying Chris Benoit. I'm just saying at that time period, this is before all that crap happened, when everybody else was a fan of the guy. I was too at the time. Okay. So Chris Benoit wasn't there. He left WCW and went to WWE. Now, there's 1,000,001 reasons to hate Chris Benoit, but I didn't start hating Chris Benoit because he wasn't at the autograph signing that I went to, and even though he was advertised to be there. Business happens, things change. And it wasn't just Mercedes who left the dadgum company. It was Naomi too, but she's back. And everybody loves her.
Yep.
So what's the difference?
Right.
Okay. So no, she did not walk out on the fans. Okay.
And let's not forget, both Naomi and Bailey went to that Dynamite to see her debut.
Yeah.
So clearly they're not upset with her.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just business. She was fed up with how the women's tag team division was being booked, which it was 100% terrible. So I can't blame her for walking out. Now, do I wish that she would have went back to the WWE? Yes, I do wish that. But that's just not what happened. And we have to accept things in life. And we have to move on. And we have to move forward. And we can't just sit here and just hold these resentments. Something tells me that guy doesn't like Mercedes Mone. And I'm assuming it's a guy because he said as a man.
Yeah.
As a man.
Man of all people.
We have to move on with life.
Yep. All right. She will eventually go back to WWE, but you can't blame her for getting a part of Khan's free pie. I don't know if it's free, but
Yeah, she does have to go there and work.
yeah. I
love how they think that like all this is just easy. They need to become professional wrestlers,
right.
and do what she did.
All right. I haven't liked Sasha since she left NXT.
Okay.
Awesome. Is Cardi B a wrestler now? I don't know who Cardi B is.
A rapper, I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, here we go. We got a nice little rant here. She did nothing to improve ratings or ticket sales. Ticket sales is a different story. She's supposedly the highest paid woman in wrestling now, and she does not deserve it. She hasn't done shit since leaving WWE. AEW Marks thought CM Punk was bad, but wait until TK asked Sasha to put over Riho or Julia Hart.
Okay, so going over to Japan and winning the IWGP Women's Championship isn't doing anything, apparently.
Yeah, you just need to have a better understanding. Look,
there's more to the world
than WWE.
Than WWE.
You're right. There's more to that. WWE is not the only wrestling on the planet. Jeez.
I'm a WWE fan, and I know that.
Yeah. What? Just guys, watch some Japanese wrestling. Watch some Mexican wrestling. You don't gotta like it. Just understand that there's more out there than WWE.
Go to an indie show.
Yeah, go to an indie show. Yeah. Anyway. But and this kind of got me too. But wait until TK asks Sasha to put over Riho or Julia Hart. I don't think they should do that anytime soon. But her putting over Julia Hart sometime in the future might be a big deal.
I'd like it.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to put over Julia Hart, I know you want to put over Julia Hart.
Yeah, I'm all about Julia Hart being over.
But as a man, you shouldn't like Julia Hart.
Gosh.
Oh man, this shit's ridiculous. Oh fuck.
I think we need to move on, Lance. I think we need to move on. We spent 30 minutes on this crap.
I only had one more comment, but I'll skip it if you want to.
No, we got one more. Let's listen to it.
Hell, she wasn't even that good in WWE. She may as well quit what she's doing because she ain't shit.
Once again,
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to comment on that one. Let's just move forward.
Oh man,
We're getting so much hate that we're going to have to be a little bit more selective with the hate, the layered of hate.
we're probably gonna have to scan these or what do you call it? Yeah, scan them before we start the show.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, that's good. By the way, everybody, we've got more Sasha Banks content coming out, so so stay tuned.
Yeah, we got my 5 reasons why she's my favorite wrestler. We decided we got so much hate on this, we decided to pull out the shiv and stick it in a little bit further. Dig into these folks.
All right. So anyway, I guess we're going to move on to our main topic, which is WrestleMania. This is our WrestleMania show.
Yeah.
So we've done a Survivor Series show, we've done a Royal Rumble show, and now this is our WrestleMania show. So how do we want to kick this off?
So, you know what I thought about doing is there's a list right here of the top 25 WrestleMania matches in all of history.
Okay.
And giving our thoughts on these matches.
Okay.
We may have not have seen them all.
Right.
If it's in the John Cena era, there's a chance that I might not have seen it.
Right.
Okay. So this is from Bleacher Report. It's called Ranking the 25 Greatest Matches in WWE WrestleMania History. Okay. Right out the bat, The Rock versus John Cena. I'm a bit surprised that match is not higher on this list.
Okay, so they have that at number 25.
Yeah, number 25.
Okay, so I have not seen that match. That's during the time I was not watching wrestling at all.
Yeah, The Rock came back.
Yeah.
And
I remember seeing some clips because you like this was when like the Rock was making fun of him for looking like Fruity Pebbles or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, The Rock came back, and it was during the PG era, so it was a different kind of Rock.
Yeah,
that came in, and it was one of those once in a lifetime matches, and Cena did the job.
Okay.
For the match.
Okay.
So it was a long match. It was great. I'm surprised it wasn't higher. Now, this match, I'm really shocked, was ranked extremely low.
Okay.
The Rock versus Hulk Hogan.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that
Hollywood
very well.
Hogan, I guess, at the time.
I remember that WrestleMania very well. We watched it at, I think it was Gavin's house.
Oh, okay.
And you were working at KFC, and you brought us popcorn chicken from KFC.
Gosh, that was so long ago.
But I remember that WrestleMania very well.
Yeah, and mashed potatoes and macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that very well.
Yeah, I can't believe that match ranks so low. That's one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time, in my opinion.
Okay,
it's one of the best matches of all time, in my opinion. I know Dave Meltzer probably gave it like 2.5 stars negative or something.
Yeah,
because it was Hollywood Hogan and The Rock, and it was WWE. But
I also remember reading concerns about that match going into it. Like there were concerns about, because I mean, The Rock was maybe 30 years old at the time, and he was in his prime, and they were like, is Hogan gonna be able to keep up with him when he picks up the pace?
Hogan did.
He did.
And Hogan got the cheers.
Yeah,
I mean, he was on fire in that match.
Yeah.
The fans backed Hogan.
It definitely started. I don't know if that was planned or not, but he definitely turned after that match. So,
and that's another thing. Yeah, he did, because the other two NWO members attacked him, and The Rock assisted and all that.
Yeah.
So that match, a lot of fans. First of all, it was in Skydome.
Yeah.
Which I guess Hulk Hogan has a curse at Skydome because.
Oh yeah, he lost a Warrior.
He lost a Warrior in Skydome.
That's right.
But apparently the fans in Toronto were Hogan fans. This was Hogan country.
Yeah.
That The Rock was going into.
Yep.
And I think there was a lot of nostalgia, and I think a lot of people knew that Hogan was going to lose because The Rock was a WWE guy, and at that time, it was like Hogan was a WCW guy basically with the NWO and all that.
Yeah.
So everybody knew The Rock was going to win. So the fans, I think, jumped behind Hogan because they wanted to see Hogan win at WrestleMania. And don't you remember me and the guy?
The guy that loves Vince Russo. You and him were upset.
Yeah, and
I think you are still upset.
Yeah, and we basically said that the match didn't end that way. We refused.
Yeah,
for years.
Yeah,
for years, the match did not. Hogan won.
Yep.
So there was that match. Number 23 at WrestleMania 20, Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle. Okay. I remember that match. That is
now that's one I would think should be higher.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just want to talk about match quality alone, I would think that would be higher.
Yeah. So that was at Madison Square Garden. Yeah. Great match. WWE Championship match. So, and it says, and Bleacher Report says it remains Eddie's greatest performance on their grandest stage, on wrestling's grandest stage. I can buy that. I agree with that. Next is Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 12. That was an Iron Man match. Lasted 61 minutes.
Okay.
Great match. Great match. One of the best. So I definitely would agree with Bleacher Report on that one. Definitely need to go watch it if you haven't.
Yeah.
If I remember it correctly, there was like no falls for the whole 60 minutes, and then it was like
I think you're
sudden
right.
death.
I think you're right.
So, yeah, sudden death overtime. Yeah, that's what happened in that match. Next is John Cena versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 23. I do not remember this match.
At WrestleMania 23.
I don't remember this match.
I don't remember that.
I need to go back and watch this. Okay, this match I do remember. I didn't watch it at the time, but I watched it later.
Okay.
WrestleMania 30, Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton versus Batista.
Okay.
And this is when Bryan became champion.
Okay.
So, as you see here, he's holding up both belts.
Well, damn.
Yeah, big deal.
Yeah.
Now this one I do remember, WrestleMania 19, Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle.
Yeah, about broke his neck in that match.
Yeah. Okay. Now this one makes no sense at all. WrestleMania 29, The Undertaker versus CM Punk. Like, the only thing that was to me, I like both of the guys. I'm not insulting the guys.
Yeah.
But that match to me was really like just a throwaway match to me. It just seemed like it was something to give CM Punk to do.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot of build for it.
That's what I was about
in my
to ask.
opinion.
Yeah.
It was booked poorly. And the only thing that really, in my opinion, is memorable for is the fact that it was The Undertaker's last victory in his undefeated streak.
Right.
So I don't understand why that one's there. So we'll see what else is there. Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 35. Yes. Bryan put over Kofi Kingston, and Kofi Kingston became champion. me and you have had long discussions how black wrestlers have struggled in professional wrestling. And Kofi Kingston, got a push, and Randy Orton kind of ruined it for him by getting angry at him during the match. Actually, that was turned into an angle later between Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton.
Right.
The only thing that's bad about Kofi Kingston's run is they had Brock Lesnar squash him to win the title afterwards. So, yeah. I was so into Kofi at that time. I wanted him to win so badly at that time. And, Kofi Mania was running wild. Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 19. That was a good one. Money in the Bank ladder match, WrestleMania 21. And this was Edge. Edge won. Mick Foley versus Edge at WrestleMania 22. Okay.
I should remember that one, but I don't.
That's a good one. All right, here's one. See, I love the old stuff. Number 13, Ultimate Warrior versus Macho King, Randy Savage, WrestleMania 7.
Okay.
Damn. That match. Now, it's kind of weird. The older you go back, the further you go back, the better I remember things.
Okay.
And it's probably because as a kid, I had all this crap on tape, and I would watch it over and over and over and over again. So, not even just picking up my phone and reading this, I can talk about that match at length. Okay. Macho King was a heel, and it was a retirement match.
Okay.
Against the Ultimate Warrior. Okay. This
for both would have to retire.
No, Macho King if he lost. Okay. So the match was memorable to me for being one of Ultimate Warrior's longest matches because usually he would blow up by the time his entrance was over.
Yeah.
So he wrestled a pretty long match in this.
Yeah.
And the thing that happened at the end was Macho King, if I remember correctly, did 5 elbow drops on the Ultimate Warrior, and the Ultimate Warrior still kicked out.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And then the Ultimate Warrior did his finishing maneuver, pin 1, 2, 3. And then Sherry Martel started attacking the Macho King, Randy Savage. And in the crowd, Miss Elizabeth ran to the ring and stopped Sherry Martel from attacking Randy Savage. And then Macho King, Randy Savage, and Miss Elizabeth celebrated together, reuniting.
Okay.
Emotional.
Yeah.
Very emotional.
Yeah.
Storytelling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, to those that don't have no idea what I'm talking about, first of all, you're listening to the wrong podcast.
Yeah.
But Miss Elizabeth was Macho Man's, he became Macho King, but Macho Man's long-term valet and in real life spouse.
Right.
And when Savage turned heel, Miss Elizabeth, it wasn't his first time turning heel, but because Savage had Elizabeth as a manager when he was a heel before, but at this point, it was impossible to be a heel and have Miss Elizabeth as your manager. So Sherry became his manager, and then Miss Elizabeth helps out
right
at the end, and they become reunited. It's very emotional, because they got married on a wrestling show.
Right.
Okay. So this was, romance and stuff going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So don't you love that? The further you go back, the more I remember.
Yeah.
The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, WrestleMania 17. Okay.
Yeah, well.
One of the top 3 matches, I'm surprised, is at number 12.
Right.
So that one's a shock to me.
Yeah, it makes me wonder how they did this.
Okay, now this match, man, Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair, WrestleMania 24.
That's right. Yep.
A match that could bring tears to your eyes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
and the famous ending of that match. First of all, I thought the match was beautiful. Okay. I really didn't know how Ric Flair was going to do in that match because, I mean, he was very much way past his prime.
Remember, that's the same year he went to the Hall of Fame, too.
Yeah. Okay. So he's way past his prime, but he got himself in the best possible physical shape he could possibly get himself into prior to this match.
Yep.
On top of that, Shawn Michaels missed a moonsault onto the table outside the ring, hitting his chest on like the ledge of it or whatever. And it made it very believable for Ric Flair to now get an edge in the match.
Yeah.
Okay, because first of all, it just wouldn't have been believable. That's another thing too. How can we believably believe that Ric Flair could beat Shawn Michaels?
Right.
Well, at that point, you believably could believe it. So this was once again another match where if Ric Flair lost, there was a stipulation that if Ric Flair lost one more match in WWE, he had to retire.
Yep.
And this became the match that he lost.
Right.
And Shawn Michaels tells Ric Flair, "I'm sorry," right before doing the super kick, and Ric Flair, tells him to bring it on.
Yeah.
And Ric Flair Shawn Michaels does the super kick. Ric Flair falls down. 1, 2, 3, match is over. Ric Flair's career is over. And as far as I'm concerned, that was his last match. I don't count anything else past that because it wasn't. It was more of a Ric Flair display, not an actual wrestling match.
And I don't really recall any other match being meaningful that it
No.
had. So
No, nothing will top that.
yeah.
It was his last match. Okay. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, WrestleMania 26. Okay. So either one of those matches was great. I mean, it's just they put on great matches. And The Undertaker won because, it's Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
The Undertaker versus Triple H, WrestleMania 28, with Shawn Michaels being the special guest referee. This was I believe it was the Hell in a Cell match. And Hell in a Cell, officiated by Shawn Michaels. And this was the match where at the very end of the match, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and The Undertaker celebrate together. Great match. Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle, WrestleMania 21. Classic.
Yep.
The Hardy.
Which one's
The Hardy Boys versus the Dudley Boys
Yes.
versus Edge and Christian at WrestleMania 17.
this? Yes. God damn.
I mean,
Yes.
every TLC match and ladder match now is compared to that match.
Right. Right.
Automatically.
Yep.
Automatically. On the way here, I had an intense feeling of sadness, Lance.
Okay.
And this reminded me of that.
Okay.
I had an intense feeling of sadness that we'll never see a match like Mankind versus The Undertaker, King of the Ring, 1998 Hell in a Cell match.
Right.
This is another match. I don't know if we'll ever see
Yeah.
that again.
Right.
For different reasons. It just because of who was in it and what and how much it changed the wrestling business.
It was innovative.
Yeah, I mean, in it's similar in the same way that Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon in a ladder match was innovative, but this took it to another level.
Yeah.
I mean, this was like souped up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, if you do the stuff they did now, it would just be, you're just doing what they did.
Yeah.
Like the shock factor might be lost forever because what can you do now that'll give you the same feeling that you got watching that one
yeah.
live,
Number 6, Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 10. I was just talking about that match.
Right.
So there you go. Bret Hart versus Owen Hart, WrestleMania 10. This is the match that Owen Hart won right before Bret Hart won the WWF title. This was set up for the great feud between the two. Wait a minute.
What?
How can this be number 4?
Hold on. Can I guess? I want to guess. I want to guess.
Somebody messed up.
I want to guess.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
If you're acting like this about it, is it Savage and Steamboat?
Yes.
Oh my God.
How? Okay. I'm going to have to see what the top 3 are because I can't think of top 3 that can beat this.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to this match. I got to see what the top 3 are.
That's fair enough.
Okay. Number 3 is Chris Benoit versus Shawn Michaels versus Triple H
At
WrestleMania 20. That was the same night that Eddie Guerrero won the championship.
Okay, yeah.
So that was a great WrestleMania. The Bleacher Report says the greatest triple threat match in the history of the WWE. It beat Steamboat versus Savage. Okay. Number 2 was the first Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker match. WrestleMania 25, where Shawn Michaels came down from the heavens in the white suit. Mm-hmm. Great match.
Yeah.
Does it beat Savage versus Steamboat?
They've got to be including theatrics.
Yeah.
In these decisions.
It's got to be.
It's got to be theatrics.
Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, WrestleMania 13. Once again, a great match, and it revolutionized wrestling.
Yeah.
Probably, definitely in the top 5, but better than Steamboat and Savage? If you've seen the match, go back and watch the match as soon as you finish listening to this.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the match, you need to have a little bit of a lead up into that match. Okay. You had Savage and you had Steamboat. Elizabeth in Savage's corner. George the Animal Steel in Steamboat's corner. George was kind of creepy, had a creepy thing for Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Watch that match. Look for any botches.
Yeah.
You're not going to find one.
Right.
Every single move of that match was choreographed without it looking like it was choreographed. So Randy Savage probably had a case of obsessive compulsive disorder, at least at that time. All right.
Yeah.
He was insistent on having the whole match memorized. And both him and Steamboat had to study the order of the moves. And they practiced this stuff, okay?
Yeah.
And went over it and over it and over it.
Yeah.
And when you watch the match, you can't tell that it's choreographed. Mm-hmm. Okay? It looks like it's spontaneous.
Right.
But it's the greatest match in WrestleMania history. It's one of the greatest matches of all time. Steamboat won. He won the Intercontinental title.
I wonder if that's another reason they didn't put it there, because it wasn't for the world title. It was for the Intercontinental title.
Maybe so. But here's the thing.
Whatever.
The other match of the night was a Hogan Andre. That's where everybody came for. But that match stole the show. If you go back and watch that match, I don't see how you can't say it was number 1. And you also have to take in consideration the time period with the false finishes and the multiple counts, barely kicking out the count of 2 right before 3. That wasn't something that was routinely done in 80s professional wrestling. Okay. Also, choreographing a match wasn't routinely done at all back then. It was all spontaneous stuff, aside from maybe like what the finish was going to be and stuff like that, and maybe a few spots. I mean, this match was like one exhibition in just greatness, and you had 2 of the greatest. You just can't beat it. In fact, the sad part about all this is, at least for Savage, I don't think he ever topped what he did that night ever again for the remainder of his career.
Right.
I don't think that he was able to top that.
Yeah.
And now I could say Steamboat did, maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, it's debatable.
Right.
I mean, is the matches with him and Flair better than this? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I'm struggling comparing those matches right now, and I've seen them all, and they're like some of my favorites. Okay, because Flair's the best wrestler of all time. Steamboat, I mean, he was just amazing. But these 2 guys, it's like a work of art.
Yes,
okay,
it is. It is. A work of art.
It was like the Picasso of professional wrestling right here. Okay,
Yeah.
and I don't think we ever saw those two in the ring ever again. It had a great storyline behind it with Savage injuring Steamboat's larynx or whatever prior to the match, so that there was a build up, there was a story. It was just everything about that in this match, and I just mark out all over it. And it's just it's just amazing.
I'm not stopping you.
Yeah. For anybody that doesn't watch wrestling, marking out is like being a wrestling nerd, and just yeah. So
yeah. Look, if I'm about the list in general, if I'm making a list of best matches, I'm really just looking at match quality. I'm not looking at anything else. I'm not even really looking at the story, honestly. I'm not looking at theatrics, because you can have all the build up you want and all the theatrics for the match, but if you don't get in and put in a good show, nobody gives a shit.
yeah.
That's just how I look at it. So
Well, I think story does matter to some extent. Like the Hogan Rock match. Mm-hmm. I mean, it wasn't a masterpiece of exhibition wrestling.
no, but it wasn't a bad match either.
It wasn't a bad match.
It wasn't a bad. So, I don't know. I don't know. It's just, but when you said that was number 4, Steamboat and Savage, that's what kind of what made me realize they had to have been looking at the story leading in and the theatrics of the match itself, like the entrances and stuff. I don't know.
So that's our commentary on the Bleacher Report top 25 top matches.
Yeah.
That's our commentary analysis of that.
Yeah.
So we'll obviously, I don't know, should we skip the week of WrestleMania and catch up afterwards? Because obviously both of us are going to be busy watching wrestling.
Right. Yeah.
The weekend of WrestleMania.
It is 2 nights, isn't it?
Yeah.
It might be hard unless, I don't know. I don't know what else we could do. Yeah. So we may follow up. When is it? It's not this coming weekend, right? It's the next weekend.
I think it's the next weekend.
Yeah. So it's 2 weeks from today. So it's the 6th and 7th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So night 1's 2 weeks from today, and it would be starting right now.
Yeah.
So, I guess so. Okay. So you want to do an episode next week and then skip the next week?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we'll come back next week and then skip the next week and come back later. So
All right.
I should have plenty of stuff to be putting up anyway. So, So does that wrap up our WrestleMania?
Wraps
show?
it up, I think.
All right. So keep on the lookout for the additional Mercedes Mone content coming out very soon, and there will be a lot. So
Yeah.
all right. So until then,
Peace out.
We'll see y'all later.